I'm Carrie Peters, a recognized thought leader in the Microsoft Dynamics community and a Microsoft MVP for business applications. Welcome to the Get Your New View podcast. Keep listening to learn how we work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers that they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. In this next season of the Get Your New View podcast, I'd like you to meet even more members of our New View team who have brought examples of their favorite projects they've worked on with our customers to create efficiencies, utilize automation, and simply use even more of the features of their Business Central software. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of our podcast where our guests, Lisa Ramsey and Shawn Sissenwein, are here to tell us all about some of the improvements that they've created for our customers related to manufacturing. I'm very excited to have you both here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shawn, you had shared a story with me about some projects you'd worked on recently with some customers. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yes, we had a customer who they were running QuickBooks for a finance, and actually the owner of the company, a lot of the manufacturing bill of materials were in his head. And so what we did is we did a process where we took those, I interviewed him, I put them into Excel, and then we created them over into Business Central. So that was nice. The other thing that we did was when they were doing consumption, instead of writing down consumption on the floor, we trained the users how to use the consumption journal, so then they had more real-time information. And also what was great about that is it wasn't two people doing the work. So they just put it right into the consumption journal and posted the consumption as it was going through the work centers.
That's fantastic. So in that instance, they had a lot of manual processes they had to the point where maybe only one person had that information or they had it outside the system, and they were able to utilize Business Central to put all that in the system, right? Yep, fantastic. Lisa, what about you? You had shared some stories with me about folks you'd worked with recently. Tell us a little bit about the projects that you worked on there.
Oh, the one, Carrie, that comes to mind is a group of guys. They had already implemented nav manufacturing. This was a couple of years ago. And none of it was working for them. And come to find out, when they did the conversion, no one ever took the time to explain to them the difference between what goes on a bill of material and what a routing is and what work centers are. So what I had to do was kind of get really creative when I was teaching them. And the way I got them to understand it is that I taught them how to make spaghetti. So I had the ingredients list, right? And then when we got down to the take a pot out, fill it full of water, put it on the stove, I then was able to get them to understand the pot is a work center. The stove is a work center. And after that, they're like, light bulb went off. So that was a lot of fun, teaching them how to make spaghetti.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what a great real world way to pick something simple that we can all do and apply that to that work situation and help them to use the software in a better way with that example. I guarantee you that those folks probably think about that every time they're setting up a new work center, don't they?
I bet they do.
Fantastic. One of the things that we run into a lot with folks who come to work with us is they're very frustrated with their system. And I think even when you were talking about the folks who didn't know all that information, they start from a point of frustration. So what kind of things do you think, Lisa, people are frustrated with manufacturing, where we can address that and move them from frustration to something much more productive?
Well, the frustrations come from a lack of knowledge, right? The fact that the numbers that they're getting out of BC are not the numbers that were in their legacy system, right? Costing could be different. Most of them have never used anything, so they always have just, they buy extra containers, shipping containers for all that just in case inventory. I've worked with a couple of customers recently that are carrying probably in excess of $12 million of just-in-case inventory that is stored off-site. Sell it. Have a garage sale, right? So why are we buying stuff just in case we need it, right? So getting them in the mindset that because of the economic times, you can't stockpile this stuff, right? You need to know what you've got demand for and your long lead items and all that. And then between that, right, inventory now having a real number, the other thing is they just don't understand costing at all. How does the system arrive at these numbers? Where did they come from? That's not possible, right? So those are the two biggest ones that we work with that are the most frustrating for customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably every conversation you and I have ever had, Lisa, the word costing comes up multiple times because that's what we're solving for folks as we dig into things. And from my perspective as a finance person, when I think about all that inventory sitting out there, all I can think of is the impact on cash and how much cash that's using. Yeah. And how the things that you guys work on in the manufacturing area ultimately pays back the company in the amount of cash that doesn't go out the door because they've got that just-in-time or extra inventory sitting out there. Absolutely. Yep. Shawn, I wanted to ask you a little bit about the progression that we see with people who are in manufacturing. A lot of folks at their go live start with the basics because they've got to get all of that organized and put together at the go live. But there's a certain progression of how they move from where they started to where they're really starting to use more of the features and begin to even innovate in the system. So what are some of those kind of easy wins you see in that progression from where they start to where they end up in a couple of years?
Yeah, I think as far as just doing some of the data cleanup and doing baby steps, I think Lisa and I have worked with a lot of customers where we don't want to turn on, yes, it can do that, but we don't want to turn on all the features maybe up front because when you start running the planning worksheet, people don't really understand the numbers and where they're coming from. So we can turn on a couple of things, get the inventory in, get the bill of materials, the work centers and routings in, and then start working on planning and building on that process.
Yep, that's great. So what kind of opportunities open up for companies as they start to put more than just the basics into place? What else can they do that maybe they haven't thought of that's possible?
You know, one of the things that has come up recently is a company uses backflush as kind of a rule of thumb because we're not doing automatic capture of actual anything on the floor. But that production order might take them 2 to 3 weeks to get through the whole process. So what do? So I've recently introduced for one of our customers routing links, which when they finish a case of product at the end and they're scanning that quantity, it will automatically post the consumption. And that's been a huge win for them because of the visibility that it gives them into as far as the raw material that's not there anymore because it's in the product in the case, right? Instead of waiting until it's finished. So between that and versions, oh my goodness. I mean, how many, there's been 3, 4 recently where I've taught them how to do the mass update, right? Where they've changed out a raw material. We're not going to use that part anymore, we're using this one, and how the system automatically creates a version so then they can go back and look at what it was before and as of this date it's this now so they can see the matrix. Those two have been, I didn't know, you know, it's almost like that old thing where I needed a V8, I could have had a V8. That's the kind of reaction we're getting.
Yep.
Well, that's the nice thing about also getting those bill of materials into Business Central because you can track them and can track the version and see the history.
Yep, that's great. Good stuff. So, one of the things that I see or hear when I talk with people who are considering a project like this is they really don't know where to start. It's overwhelming and they're not quite sure what it's going to look like. So, if you think about working with somebody over a period of time to be able to maybe certainly start with fixing things, but how can they improve over time? How can they get organized for a project like that? And what kind of things should they think about before they start to work with us? Lisa?
Oh, that's a good question. some of this depends on where they are and what their mindset is, right? Because we haven't had two customers engage us at the same point, right? Shawn brought up the one where their bills of materials were in Excel. That's a whole different level than another customer we've worked with that have implemented manufacturing, but they've had a turnover and we needed to come in and help train the staff. Then they can make decisions about what to do to improve. So, we've had another customer, they had what they thought were good bill of materials, they had what they thought were good routings, and yet the planning worksheet was, so that means that wasn't the issue. It was, we got to go back to the item. So, depending where they're coming from depends on what they need to do to work on. And everybody is kind of unique, which is, everybody always says, oh, I'm unique. Well, you know what? They are, because they're not in the same spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Shawn, is there anything that you can add to that as far as what they should be thinking of as they engage on a project like this to improve processes?
I think maybe just on the reporting side, looking at that, of course I'll bring up my Power BI, but are they really getting the output? Is the data consistent? We've had a lot of times where there's just thousands and thousands of items. Are there other areas we can use item cross-reference, different things? So instead of having, 25, 30 of the same item numbers, maybe with different unit of measures, we can consolidate that into one. And a lot of times that comes out in reporting too, because you see all these items that are exactly the same item, but you have them in the system, 25 times. So looking at that.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of quality control there, but I do like your reference to Power BI. We were joking in another a session in this particular season about how all roads lead to Power BI. That in a lot of cases we're able to pull all that information into Power BI and really add value in that way as well. Well, one thing I love about talking with you guys about a topic like this is I feel like it really shows the value of having senior resources on a project. So all three of us have been in this industry for quite a while, and I think we've seen a lot of different things. Lisa, what can you say about the resources at NewView when you think about the value that we can bring with having a whole lot of experience? How does that really make a difference in a project?
Well, with the experience that our team brings to the table, we all have worked in industry. We're just not a new consultant, right? So we have real life examples to bring to the table. The years of experience with our group in particular, we remember who we worked with, right? We create lasting relationships. So over the years, whenever we run into them, they're always coming up and, hey, how you doing? How are the kids? So we bring a different type of consultant, if you will, to the table. We're more of a business advisor. We're more of an extension to their management team to help them. We look at the big picture. We're just not myopically focused on, hey, can we make AP better, right? It's more about what are you trying to accomplish, which with the experience that our team has, we're able to do that because in many respects, many of us have run companies. We've been CFOs. We've been in a position of management in the C-suite, if you will. So we know what kind of reporting we need. We know what our customers need. We know what tough questions to ask to guide them through this process, because it's not all about, hey, to click new, hit the plus button. No. What we do is we help them really embrace the way the system was configured, the way the foundation, so it will work best for them.
Yep, fantastic. Shawn, what's been your experience in that regard?
What's nice is, even though we've all had a lot of years of experience, everybody has different experience. So when we're working with customers, if there's something that we're brainstorming with them and we're not sure, it's very easy to get on the phone with another one of the team members and just say, what are you experiencing? And even though I may think that we need to go down a certain route, brainstorming with the team, we may come up with another plan, which is ultimately best for the customer, because it's not like you're getting one consultant. You have a whole team of people that have just a wide range of experience. So that's what I think is great about our team.
Yeah, I love the collaboration that happens, and that really helps to bring forward the best solution that's been vetted by a number of different people. And I always tell people the biggest difference is that it just gets done faster. The ability to just understand what the situation is right away and come up with that solution and make it happen is about 10 times easier than what I see with other situations where it takes some time for ramp up and understanding and solution gathering. Yep. Well, fantastic. This has been great. I wanted to just give you one more opportunity. Shawn, what else would you tell folks who might be considering doing a project with us?
I would say just, work with your team, especially in operations. I think that, getting together and really understanding the process, and then if you need help going through those processes, we can help you with that as well. And then just finding out what, there's some other features or, what we can do to help in your organization.
Fantastic. Lisa, what would you like to tell people about projects with NewView?
They're fun. Right? One of the things that we all bring to the table is humor. And if you want to know, just come to one of the classes and you'll find out. We challenge you, but we always have fun, right? This is we have a clear objective of what we're trying to accomplish, but we're going to smile all the way through, and so are you. And I've had so many of the customers tell me, oh man, that's awesome. Thank you. So I think they dread it. So they like the humor.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Well, and that passion and that love for software and for our customers comes through all the time. We really do have a great time having people find ways to love their software the same way that we do. So
yep.
Thank you guys so much for being here today to talk about some of the different things that we can do with manufacturing and process improvement with NewView. I'm Carrie Peters. Thank you for tuning in to the Get Your NewView podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click the subscribe button and ring the bell to ensure that you get notified whenever new content comes out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please share an honest review on Apple Podcasts. If you are ready to rethink today for tomorrow, look for the link below and contact us to speak with our expert team. You won't find the level of no-nonsense real-world experience we offer anywhere else, and we're here to put that experience to work for you. Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you suspect there just has to be a better way and you don't know what it is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at NewView Strategies work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. Please contact us at getyournewview.com to get started.